Alright everyone, welcome back again to more Tsukihime. Let's carry on.
そうですね。ありがとうございます。
I take it from her hand.
さて、あとは地上に戻るだけですか。今の遠野くんなら一人でも瓦礫を登っていけますよね。
Tia looks around for where the slope is gentlest. As I watch her, I hear something.
なんだこの音。
I strain my ears to pick up the distant noise. Tia must have caught it too. The ringing of bells falling softly from the sky. I've heard this sound before, from chapel belfries. The clangor of metal striking metal. It's not altogether uncommon to hear, but only on certain days. What on earth is it doing here now? Christmas is still a long way off. Tia shoves me aside. An instant later, several blades long and thin as the post of wrought iron fence spear her like needles pinning a butterfly.
ふーん。殺すどころか助けるとか意味わかんない。ルアに乗り移られた者同士、手を取り合って生きていこうってこと？
A girly voice echoes across the ruined crater, but I don't see anyone among the rubble, which means... I look up as I run to Ciel's aid. And there, silhouetted against the sky...
何それ？美談のつもり？
Oh, don't tell me that's Noelle.
そんな身勝手、許されるはずないじゃない。
Is a vampire drenched in gruesome scarlet. Like a butterfly, she perches atop a ruined pillar. She looks like a young girl. Her hair is a faded red and her eyes burn crimson. There's no doubt about it. This is a vampire. Like it or not, we're two of a kind, and as such, I can sense how powerful she is. She's rank 6, a true dead apostle no longer tied to a sire. A transcendent being free to create her own minions and raise her own army of the dead.
あれ？反応薄くない？タイミング測ったつもりなんだけど、私ったらまた外しちゃったのかな？
She muses theatrically to herself as she looks down at us. It sends chills down my spine. Her mouth is set in a smile, but her eyes seethe with murderous intent, promising we won't get away. Beneath her affected demeanor, she oozes fetid bloodlust from every pore.
まあいっか。取り乱して悲鳴を上げてもらうのは後のお楽しみにすればいいんだし。それより今はこっちの話よね。ほら、早く殺してよ。ルアに汚染された魂は本人の意志が残っていようと例外なく消滅させる。そうでしょ、シエル先輩。
シエル先輩？
She called her by name. Do they know each other?
その姿、使徒に身を委ねたのですね、ノエル。
Ah, I was right. Seems like more of a downgrade for me. Because she was an adult and she shrunk into a kid-like stature.
ノエルって、ノエル先生！
The young girl smiles but otherwise ignores Ciel. Unthinkable as it is, it must be true. This is the woman I once knew as Noelle, now transformed into a vampire.
そう、ノエル先生よしきくん。見違えてくれた。あなたから見たらまるで別人みたいでしょ。
Oh yeah, I definitely would have guessed it was Miss Noelle if it wasn't for the fact that I've seen it prior.
でもそこの人にしてみれば驚くことでも何でもないわ。この顔は13年前のあの日の14歳の頃の私だもの。
A shuffling cacophony closes in around us. Zombies, and not just a handful of them either. There are easily more than 30, crawling down the crater on their bellies like a plague of lizards. I ready my knife, bracing for the coming assault. The zombies converging on us are freshly turned. These are no leftovers from Roa's stock. She must have made them herself, from the bodies of innocent people.
ノエル、あなたは
God damn, CL, what on earth? With 3 spikes skewering her, CL glares at Noelle. One through her chest, another through her left arm, third through her right thigh, but her voice betrays no hint of pain. As long as Roa exists, she is immortal. And besides, she is burning with rage. Rage at her former comrade in arms, who has joined the very monster she swore to slay, slaughtered the very people she swore to protect.
ええ、3日かけて50人近くの兵隊を作ったわ。初めは加減がわからなくて殺しちゃったり壊しちゃったりしたけど、今はこの通り一つの群れの先生役。なってみれば簡単よね。吸血鬼の生活なんて軽く心をいじって抜け殻にしてあげれば、けなげで哀れな働きアリが1匹できるんだもの。しかもギフトのおまけ付き。人間1匹の血を吸うだけで力も寿命も伸びるなんてチートすぎて笑っちゃうわ。
The number of zombies is growing by the second. We've been completely surrounded in only a minute or so.
よくわかりました。経緯はどうあれ、あなたは吸血鬼になった。吸血鬼として生き延びるために私を殺しに来たのですね。
She doesn't twitch so much as an eyebrow as she yanks the blade out of her chest. I've seen that face enough tonight to know what it means. It's the mask of Executor CL, the one she wears when she's on the verge of tears. Their battle is only moments away. No, this won't be a battle. It'll be an extermination. There's clearly no contest between them. Noelle's curse envelops her on a scale an ordinary human could only dream of. Her capabilities must be magnified by 10 or 20 times. But TL is stronger than 20 Noelles. And her 7th holy scripture is optimized for killing vampires. Noelle might be ranked 6 as strong as the dead apostle of common stock can get, but if things turn violent, she doesn't stand a chance.
まあそうなるわよね。あなたにとって吸血鬼は誰であれ殺すもの。そうでなくちゃ許されない。でもね、それなら私より先に殺すべき相手がいるんじゃないかしら。
CL freezes. Noelle doesn't stand a chance in combat. She knows that, so she's trying to crush CL's spirit before this can come to blows.
私が吸血鬼かどうかなんて今は些細な問題でしょ。ねえシエル先輩、私たちよく語り合いましたよね。この命は復讐のために、ロアを殺すためなら何でもするって。だから見て、私はその誓いを守ったわ。あなたがやってくれないから私は自分からこうなった。一人じゃ何もできない私はロアを殺すために大嫌いな吸血鬼に生まれ変わるしかなかったのよ。
私のせい。
そう、全部あなたのせい。あなたがいつまでもふぬけてるからこうなった。
Oh, don't blame her for your own actions.
ほら、次はあなたの番よ。早く殺して。そこの坊やをあなたの手で八つ裂きにしてみせて。
In an instant, the tables have turned. TL is frozen stiff, her will to fight gone. Her windpipe contracts in shock. She chokes out ragged breaths as her eyes dart between me and Noelle.
できないの。やっぱり嘘だったのね。何もかも嘘。あの涙も懺悔も開口もみんな嘘っぱちだった。そんなあなたが私を殺す？恥知らずにも程があるわ。誰よりも薄汚い犬畜生。お前なんかあの時死んでいればよかった。生きていること自体許されるはずがないんだから。
Her insults fall like a rain of curses. I can't know what kind of past they share, but I won't listen to another word of her vitriol.
何好き勝手言わせてるんですか先輩。あいつは吸血鬼です。周りをよく見てください。
遠野くん。
I step in front of CL, shielding her from Noel's gaze. With knife raised, I stare up at my foe. My left arm is still a little stiff, but that aside, I feel stronger than ever. I'm hardly proud to admit it, but she's not the only one enjoying the benefits of vampiric physiology.
あら、まだ四季君が残ってるんだ。てっきりロアに飲まれたと思ったのに、けなげに頑張るのね。君には恨みはないし、できるだけ楽に殺してあげようと思っていたんだけど。気が変わったわ。そいつをかばっただけでイラッときちゃった。あなたにも生き地獄を味わってもらおうかしら。
You're pissed off. Well, that makes two of us.
あんたが先輩をよく思っていなかったのも願いやしいことも知っていたけどさ。まさかここまで先輩を怖がってるとは思わなかったよ。
へえ、それどういう意味なのか教えてもらえる？
分かっていることをいちいち聞くな。戦うのが怖いからベラベラ喋って矛先を惑わしやがって。大体あんたの目的は俺だろ。ロアを殺したいんなら俺を狙え。吸血鬼になり下がったあんたに先輩を責める資格はない。
吸血鬼になり下がった私に責める資格はない？
That's quite the face. Every hair on the back of my neck stands bolt upright. I sense that I've made a fatal misstep. The girl's mouth twists into a full-faced leer, like the devil's grin as his trap snaps shut.
ああ、そう。知らないんだ。四季君はその女が何をしてきたのか知らないんだ。
CL finally breaks her paralysis with a cry. She looks up at Noelle as though begging her not to continue, but the vampire only smiles.
なら直接見せてあげる。戦うのが怖いなんて笑わせるわ。だって戦う必要なんてないんだもの。人間を壊すことがどれほど造作もないことか身をもって教えてあげる。さあ、私の目の中にいらしてくださる？
For a moment, it seems nothing has happened. The attack I feared doesn't manifest, and I wasn't never looking at her to begin with. But her eyes burst into bloom, and just like that, the world goes mad. Roses. Endless roses as far as the eye can see. A sickly aroma clogs the air. The crimson sea seems to stretch on forever. And I, an insignificant speck adrift in its depths, am nothing but a pest in the garden.
ようこそ歓迎いたしますわ。名も知れぬお客様。
Did she just form a reality marble too?
これは快楽と背徳の園。この地上に存在する魔眼の中で最も美しく最も醜悪と謳われたロゼイアンの原理結界。
Petals scatter on the whispering wind. The riot of color smothers my eyeballs. The stench of roses pervades my nostrils. Boundaries blur and blend. In this rosin world, a bewitching narcotic holds my every sense of thrall.
訪れた者には快楽、囚われた者には背徳、遊覧不乱の継ぎはぎモザイク、一夜ばかりの幻の終わらぬものなら不治の毒、手に手を取って夢の狭間に参りましょう。
Sensing danger, I try to run, but I lose myself in the storm of petals. My body and mind dissolve in the endless roses. They strip away my identity and reduce me to a nameless actor, to be dropped into a page of someone else's story. Chapel bells toll in the winter air. I look around as I wipe down the outside tables, marveling at how busy the town has gotten. A crowd mills at the doors of the local church. Children from all over town are gathered in the town square, watching a charity performance staged by doll makers and magicians. December 24, 2001, 3 p.m. A bright sunny day. It's only a few hours until Christmas. Soon, the Square Fun Cafe that doubles as my house will reopen for dinner service.
こんにちは。お店は準備中？
I spin around, flustered at the familiar voice. My feet might have actually left the ground for a moment. Shaking my head furiously, I invite him to take a seat.
ああ、メニューはいらないよ。ちょっと寄っただけだから。
He replies breezily, in fluent French, and takes his usual seat overlooking the main street. It's been half a year since he arrived from the Eastern Exchange. He's well-mannered and likable. Often, he comes by on weekends to play piano in the cafe lounge. Apparently, he came to France to study music, moving to this town on a friend's invitation to avoid paying rent at exorbitant city rates.
君は広場に遊びには行かないのかい？
Me? I'm too old for all that. I'm not a child, you know. I turned 14 this year. Oh, so you are still a child.
そういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだけど。ごめん、謝るよ。お詫びに、はい。一日早いけどプレゼント。
He pulls a carefully wrapped parcel out of a paper bag. I can already tell what's in it. It's the jewelry I wanted. A silver cross with a bell on it. Something a real grown-up might wear.
親父さんにはいつもお世話になってるからね。こことアレル感がなかったら、僕はとっくに飢えて倒れている。お金はあっても料理ができないのは困りものだ。
Is this Noel's past? I mumble my thanks to the ground, too embarrassed to look at his smile. I've been a little slow to mature, so it's hard for me to get along with others my age. But with him, conversation is effortless. His boyish features might help, but more than that, he has the kindest air of anyone in town.
でもアレル感はここのところ休みが多いよね。せっかくのクリスマスなのに街で一番のパティスリーが閉まっているなんてちょっとがっかりだな。
My heart sinks a little at that. Arlequin at the end of the main street is one of the oldest shops in town, though it's actually a boulangerie, not a patisserie. Their recent range of cakes must have given him the wrong idea. We source biscuits and other confectionery from them, so they're on good terms with my father. I rarely leave the house if I can help it, but I've met their daughter once or twice. She's younger than me, having only just entered a junior high college, yet tall and lanky with dark hair and endless energy, my polar opposite.
そういえばアレル感の娘さんも見かけないな。以前はよく焼きたてのパンをくれたものだけど。
I don't really like her very much. She's always chatting with him on the main street, and I don't like that she's taller than me, even though she's way younger.
もっとも様子がおかしいのはアレル感だけじゃなくて街全体の話だけどね。ここのところ物騒な事件も頻発しているし夜も静かすぎるだろ。
This is probably Noel's past.
よその町に親戚がいるのなら新年はそっちに行った方がいいと思う。こらそこうさんくさい顔しない。 こういう時の僕の勘は当たるんだぞ。
He finishes his coffee, excuses himself, and sets off towards the church. What a reminder of the countdown to Christmas, he waves goodbye. Christmas here starts and ends at night. Most people think of the 24th as Christmas Eve, but Christmas really goes from the evening to the night of the 25th. Once the sun goes down, customers will start pouring in. I watch, a little wistfully, as he weaves through the crowd of children in the square. That sight would be my last memory of my hometown as it was. After helping open up the cafe, I retreat to my room. I have homework to do, and besides, I don't have any friends to invite me to mass. My absence is sure to spark some gossip, but that's still better than going. When my father asks, I lie and tell him I have a cold. My room is on the second floor of the shop, and the floor isn't thick enough to keep out the hubbub below. It'll be especially loud tonight since it's Christmas. I slip my earphones in and burrow headfirst into my duvet so I don't have to feel so alone. The hours pass in silence as I lie in the dark. But sleep doesn't come, so eventually I crawl out of bed. I'm curious what's going on outside, and besides, I need to use the bathroom. It's still only 7. The night has just begun. I cock my head at the odd sight outside the window. The square is brightly lit, but the church is dark. Strange cries rise from the main street, protracted screams unlike anything I've ever heard. Footsteps drum in the distance. The cafe downstairs has gone deathly silent. Still in my pajamas, I open the door to make my way through the corridor and peer down the stairs to the first floor. First, I call for my mother and father, I think. No one answers, not even the customers. But I'm still innocent, ignorant, confident in my safety. So I blithely descend the stairs to the cafe and stumble into a nightmare of flesh and blood and bone. I'm guessing the nice guy that visited your cafe is the vampire that killed your family and everyone else in town. At first, all I can do is look closer, trying to process what I'm seeing. Broken tables, broken chairs, shattered plates, scattered corpses. A cash register, abandoned. My father gone. 1, 2, 3, and I can't breathe. They say the heart is just a muscle untied to emotion, but it feels like mine has literally burst with horror. I try to scream but end up throwing up instead. Curled up like a cat, throwing up what feels like all my guts. Throwing up and throwing up until I almost drown in my own vomit, and by the time I'm done, my throat is too raw to make a sound. Distant cheers come from the square. I dash out of the shop, desperate to find someone, anyone, who could explain what's going on. The moment I set foot outside, I understand. The square is burning. Piles of bodies litter the ground. Above it all, the church bell tolls. The townspeople have been split into 2 camps. The hunters and the hunted. The killers and the victims. Those who have lost their humanity, and those who are still clinging to it. I can't make heads or tails of any of this. I'll probably never understand. All I know is that the apocalypse came while I was in bed and I missed the memo. My guts clench as I realize my mother and father must have left me behind. It's lucky that I can't scream in the end. That may be the only reason I make it off the main street unnoticed. All I want is to find my parents. I'm sure they realize it's too dangerous here. I bet they're outside of town waiting for me. I flee through the side streets and down the hill the major road. This area is mostly fields, so I don't expect to find help. But something tells me the farther out of town I am, the better. However, I find my path blocked by an unfamiliar wall. A 10-meter high edifice surrounds the town. A crowd of grown-ups is gathered at the base. They're arguing, fighting, killing each other, their faces twisted in anger and scarier than the monsters in the square. "You can't knock it down, you idiot," someone shrieks. "Someone climb it and drop a rope down from the top." In this nightmare, the idea seems perfectly logical. The grown-ups stop fighting and start working together to climb the wall. Relief washes over me. I was scared to approach while they were also angry, but now it should be alright. But just as I step out of cover, a rough hand grabs my shoulder. Once again, I'm thankful that I can't scream.
待って。今近づいちゃダメだ。
It's the exchange student from the east, the one who makes my heart flutter. Oh, okay, good. I thought he was the vampire. He pulls me back into the shadows. He's out of breath, with a face that looks like he's been through hell and back. Why did you do that? You might be able to get out of here.
それはそうなんだけど。
His answer trails off. He stares at the wall, his face drawn. More grown-ups arrive. Escapees from the town, more than I can count. It's hard to believe that so many people have been living alongside me all this time. But their numbers do them no good. All they need to do is form a human tower, but they're still fighting over who gets to be on top. And then it happens. I notice something emerging from the ground. Something dark, translucent, and very, very high. A second wall chasing the first from the inside. Shouts rise from the crowd as people start to notice. They run back to the wall that's risen behind them and batter their fist against it. But it won't budge, and unless my eyes are playing tricks on me, it's starting to move. Oh no. Something awful is about to happen.
動くこの壁動くぞおいどうなってるんだ村長を呼べ下がれ押すなよ下がれクソどもおいこれ止まらないぞ止まらないぞ早く俺を上に上げろ上げてくれよ押すなつぶらつぶ橋はまずいもう隙間がない真ん中だ真ん中に逃げ手が挟まっておい助けるんだ嘘
Well, this is unfortunate. The walls close like an old-fashioned juice press. Over 100 people are slowly but steadily pressed into pulp, until all that's left of them is a harvest of precious blood. Atop the battlements, a freakish menagerie savors the spectacle. Yeah, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's the ones standing atop, and then the ones above them is like a spire-like creature that's 11. And a gigantic, shielded silhouette.
逃げよう。ここにいちゃいけない。
He grabs my hand and leads me back into town. I follow along in a daze. It's strange. I can't shake the feeling that one of the faces I saw in the crowd pleading with me for help through the transparent wall was my mother's. Ah, that sucks. We see all sorts of strange sights as we run. It's like an art exhibition. Odd sculptures dot the road back to the town square. A glance reveals them to be human-sized cacti. Closer look reveals them to be human-sized humans. Although I wouldn't blame anyone for thinking they were cacti, all wrapped in thorns like that. Blood red roses bloom all over them. A garden of beautiful rouge melons growing from human soil. All that remains of the people beneath are their heads, with mouths stretched into blissful smiles. Some are torn apart by living corpses. Others mistaken for demons and killed by their friends. But I think all of them are luckier than the people at the wall. That's how I'd want to die. If I could choose in my sleep, dreaming happy dreams. It's like a masquerade. A great big bug squirm along the street. Insects with 6 legs, spiders with 8. Long wiggling creatures with more. Turn me back, they sing in tearful chorus. I don't have to look closely to tell that they're humans with extra bits growing out of them. Was there ever a purer love than this? Oh, how it grieves me that you are blind to it. Love gives, love nurtures, love strengthens. Rejoice, my children, for my love for you is endless. I don't want that kind of love. A mechanical insect croons its love in a voice no organic throat could produce. It walks in midair, across an enormous web spun between the rooftops. Its hulking body is so monstrous, just the sight of it corrodes my will to live. The devil from the fairy tales would pale next to this. Its 8 legs gleam as they scurry on thin air. 8 spindly fingers playing a dizzying tarantula. There was more. Whole streets frozen solid, a plague of holes pockmarking the ground, a flock of gorgeous doves picking out those who no longer care to run. I thought I might go crazy. Or rather, I thought I might loop back around to sanity and go crazy a second time. Far past breaking point, I numbly let him drag me in his wake. My presence seems to help him cling to sanity.
教会の明かりが消えているのはどうしてだろう
He stops and mutters to himself. My brain having long given up on thinking, all I can offer is a flat, non-committal
も
response.
しかして本当にあいつらは教会には近寄れないのか
So he slips in through the doors with me in tow. There are lots of people inside. My father's one of them. I dive into his arms where, overcome by warmth and guilt, I finally break down and cry. At least your dad's alive. The chapel has become a place of refuge. More than 50 people huddle beneath its roof, waiting for the dawn, hoping against hope that daybreak will end this nightmare and return their ordinary lives. But it's not to be.
ああ、なんて嘆かわしい。
No, I thought you guys were safe. I guess not.
町中の人間が殺到すると期待していたのに、集まったのはこれだけなんて。この時代は不信心者が多すぎる。
Footsteps echo through the cavernous hall. A figure approaches from the altar, her red eyes shining in the darkness.
でも、だからこそ歓迎しましょう。
CL?
ここに集まったあなたたちこそ、生贄にふさわしい敬虔な信者ですから。
And we become toys to pass the time. A pool of blood forms in the chapel. With a sickly crunch, the floor collapses, trapping us at the bottom of a feeding pit. She says she wants to find the best way to keep us fresh. One of my classmates is the first to be chosen, starting from his extremities and working in. She rolls him up like a tube of toothpaste, squeezing screams and innards from his mouth. One by one. She must be pleased with the results. She takes a similar approach with the second and third, folding one to a living box, flattening the other into a living carpet. One by one. She's waiting for someone, killing time until they arrive. It reminds me of myself, absent-mindedly dipping a hand into a bag of chips as I stare into television. What she's doing now is no different. This church is one big foil bag, and we're nothing more than human chips waiting to be picked up and eaten. One by one. The pool starts to fill, not with blood, but with human beings squashed flat. We scream, we pray, help us, help us. All together we scrape at the walls. And then after our nails have torn off, one by one, she chooses a man next, the one holding on to me, the one whose name I can't remember no matter how hard I try. I cry and scream, but she won't listen. I hit her to try and make her stop, but she only laughs. Then she does the cruelest thing yet, and no, please don't kill him. Don't kill him, don't kill him. My father. No, please stop. You're hurting him. Oh God, he's so small. Smaller than an apple. Please, no. Don't eat him. Don't eat him. I'll kill you last. No, he's not disgusting. Don't throw him away. Someone catch him. Oh God, pick him up, please, before somebody steps on him. This, no wonder why Noelle's so messed up. I mean, I knew she had a past, but God. One by one, the people are half gone and the pool is half full. And we're all too scared to look her in the eye anymore. We just press our faces to the warm fleshly ground and beg for mercy. One by one she takes us. But in the end, none of it matters. Dawn is coming. Dawn isn't coming. Someone finally whispers. As one by one, carefully but coolly, us. She picks one of us out every hour, so about 3 days must have passed by now. I look up to see there are only a few of us left. The last few chips at the bottom of the bag.
逃げよう。今なら逃げられる。
I hear a voice by my ear. He hasn't been scrunched up yet, though he's missing an eye and a leg. I look for her, but she's gone. It's a strange whistling noise outside. It must be windy today.
死体を積み上げるんだ。そうすればギリギリ届く。みんな聞いてくれ。この子だけでも助けたい。
Wow, this guy is incredible. He lost an eye and a leg and he's still willing to do all this? Most people would have lost their sanities by now. He's our light in the darkness. None of us are thinking about escape anymore. We just want her to take us away so it can all be over. But he's different. His eyes are bright and warm. There's something so human about him, working his hardest to save somebody else. Then you better hope he doesn't get corrupted before he dies. We piled them up, suits of human flesh, one on top of the other, like stairs leading up to heaven, until they reached the top of the pool.
さあ早く。あいつが帰ってくる前に。
He takes me by the hand. We pull ourselves over the top of the high wall. Everybody cheers as we stand up. That's the problem with people. It's so easy to give them hope. He steadies himself against a pew and knocks over the stairs we all built. Why would he do that?
全員で逃げたら気づかれる。仕方のないことなんだ。
He's right. Now that I'm empty inside, even I can see it. I wouldn't notice 1 or 2 missing chips, so she probably won't either. But I still don't understand. He breaks the pew to use it as a walking stick. Then he leads me outside. To the hometown I would have given anything to see again. A crowd of scary monsters is waiting for us. He pushes me forward so I stumble in front of them. The only way he can escape is to make them focus on me. I don't hate him for doing it. Oh, I thought he was incredibly brave, but no, he's in it for himself. But like she said, I don't blame him. The dude's been through so much already. He isn't a bad person. He's just doing what he has to. Even good people do bad things sometimes, when they need to survive.
おい見ろよ。ここにうまそうな女がいるぜ。
He isn't a bad person, but he really shouldn't have said that. He screams as they bite into him, while I, with my throat scraped raw, still couldn't scream if I tried. He was the first to make noise, so he was the one they ate. I lie where I fell, looking up at him, being gnawed down to bones, looking up at the town I no longer recognize. I watch as they come to an end. The death of my hometown was a little thing all told. At least. Next to what's happening to the world, a profane revolution is stirring. Ah, I can see it so clearly now. Even a broken little girl like me has a third eye to open. This was a ritual, and my hometown was the altar. But the ritual ends in failure. An apparition in white comes to kill my tormentor, who falls to earth in front of me with a splat. I want to run, but I'm frozen stiff. Her glassy eyes stare up at me. I see myself reflected there, the discarded doll I am. And for the rest of a long, long night, I keep watch over myself, pathetic and powerless. A violent nausea assails me, but I manage to stand my ground. I press a hand against my forehead as my brain swims in a drunken haze. The bones of my injured arm shudder painfully with the movement, finally returning me to myself.
出てきた。ただの人間のくせに、私の目の中から。
My cardiopulmonary functions resume with a start. I drink in oxygen like a drowning man. How long did I spend submerged in someone else's life? Those weren't my own memories or my own dreams. They were hers. I was living out events of Noelle's past. It's probably only been a few minutes in the real world. But for me, trapped in an illusion and forced to watch a reel of Noelle's memories, more than 6 days have passed.
おっと、そっか。ただの人間じゃなかったんだ。今じゃ四季君は半分吸血鬼。死ぬような目にあっても生き延びるんだっけ。ほんと、生き汚いにも程があるわ。ルアの精神ごと夢の中で殺せると思ったのに。
It honestly sucks that she's become the one thing she's despised the most. In the depths of my brain, I feel someone answer her. Huh. The true mystic eyes of roses might have posed a challenge, but your paltry imitation was a mere annoyance.
でも、その人は耐えきれなかったみたい。そうよね。もう一度あの出来事を体験させてあげたんですもの。ロアに乗っ取られて心が死んで、心祖に殺されて体も死んだ。一人一人の死に様も教えてあげた。今頃は記憶の中で一人ぼっち。二度と目覚めないのではないかしら。
シエル先輩
I ignore Noelle and call her name, but her eyes won't open. I cry her name again, shake her shoulders, slap her cheek, but she refuses to wake.
無駄よ。私の魔眼から自力で抜け出したのはあなただけ。そいつはもう目覚めないわ。だって心が死んでいるもの。見せつけられた罪に耐えきれず、自分から覚醒を拒否した大罪に。卑怯で下劣な肉人形なんだから。
先輩シエル先輩
Undeterred, I keep at it. She's still alive, I know it. Every time I say her name, she twitches a little. Ciel! Her shoulders shudder like she's crying.
諦めの悪い人ね。ああ、生きて出てこれたのもその往生際の悪さがあったから。でも無駄な努力よ。どうあってもあなたは助からない。命乞いを聞く耳もないし、逃がすのなんて絶対にない。あなたはここで夢の中のどんな死に方より痛くてひどくておかしい死に方で殺されるの。あ、でもその前にせっかくだから聞いておこっと。これってレアかつ一度きりの美味しい機会だし。ねえ、私の中はどうだった？濃密すぎて興奮した？可愛すぎて浴場した？癖になるぐらい酩酊した？っていうか、そいつがどのくらい最悪で私がどのくらい正しいか分かってくれた？心の底から謝って二人仲良く私に殺されたくなったかしら。
She smiles gleefully. The ring of zombies closes around us. Before me, the girl I love is trapped in a nightmare with her eyes wide open.
そうかよ。
No more holding back. Somewhere in my brain, a firing hammer falls. Our position couldn't be any worse. There's not a second to waste. I kill her quickly and cleanly, take Seal and run.